So, Colin, what do you want for Christmas?
Oh, caught off guard there. Ted Lasso box set.
Okay. Do you know what I want?
What do you want?
I want the Turbo Man action figure with arms and legs that move, and the boomerang shooter, and his rock and roll jetpack, and the realistic voice activator. It says 5 different faces, including its turbo time, accessories sold separately, but it's not included.
You want a Turbo Man?
Well, I don't want a Turbo Man, no, but I thought I was struggling for a week in a monologue thing there, so I thought I'm going to go with this. So, welcome to Seismic Cinema, folks. I'm James, your host. I've probably written an essay on it. Paul, our editor, has probably seen it in the wrong order. And Colin,
I've probably not seen it.
how are you, mate?
Aye, excited to discuss one of my childhood Christmas films.
Yes, me too. So again, we put a poll on to the social media sites. Three choices that you guys had to pick from. One was Jingle All the Way, Fred Claus, and The Night Before. So it wasn't as close as the previous episode of A Violent Night, which will be out by the time you listen or watch this. So we've well and truly started the festive season of films, mate.
Yep, and it's good to see the polls are getting more views each time we do it, or more votes each time we do it.
Absolutely, we want to try and engage as many people as possible, and so we got over maybe about 50 votes, I think, this time around. Combining Facebook and Twitter together. You couldn't get a poll in Blue Sky. I tried, I don't know. Might start figuring how to use it.
Let's go for 60 votes next week then.
60 votes, that's it. Slowly but surely. So we'll go a wee bit of housekeeping first and foremost. So we are Seismic Cinema, as you already know, because you're here. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook community page, as well as the main Facebook page. We are also, you can get us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Amazon Music. And probably anywhere else, Colin. I'm not sure, but those are the main platforms, aren't they?
It used to be Google Podcasts as well, but something changed about that at one point. Spotify for podcasters as well, which is like our host nation, but those are some of the most well-known ones, I suppose.
Happy days, man. We are sitting at 162 subscribers on YouTube, so it's ticking along quite nicely. Our next goal is 175, so if you could just share, of course, and just ask your friends, your nice neighbours, as Ted is a nice neighbour in this film, going all the way, to subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Okay. And lastly, if we get the button up, we are part of the Podpack Collective. It is a bunch of like-minded independent podcasters who are trying to make a better community for those who are into the indie scene. Again, you can find those guys on Twitter and the other social media applications that are out there. Again, as I always say, it's not just film and TV. There's, game podcasts and stuff like that as well. So a bunch of variety out there. So go and check them out and give them a wee follow and subscribe.
Hello, we are Two Girls, One Reusable Cup, a podcast all about living a low-waste lifestyle in your 20s, hosted by Beth and Marie. We are just your average consumer trying to make the best decisions for people and planet. And we mess up. A lot.
And the next morning had a massive hangover and I was like, where's my reusable straw? No, my prized possession.
Toothpaste is like one of the jumping off points of this podcast. And it also was one of the jumping off points of my very large dentist bill.
And they put it in just standard plastic cup with a plastic lid. But don't worry, folks, they put a paper straw in it, which I think I slurped twice and then it disintegrated.
Wait, you've never learned how to ride a bike?
So kudos to my dad, he tried to teach me and I was just a pain.
I love how unforgiving you are of the fact that this was 1,800 metres above sea level. But where was my quiche?
Grab a cup of tea, sit down with us, and come and join the Sustainable Support Group.
Okay. All right. Also want to give you a mention out to what's the script as well. because this is something that you like, Colin, because the last episode there, they've just released was the Empire Strikes Back. So I don't know if you managed to catch that or not, but that is there for you.
I got the notification from Spotify, but I've not removed the notification, so it's just sitting there as a reminder. So I'll get into it at some point in the next few days.
Good stuff. And they did Jaws before that as well, so that was a good listen, man. So
I listened to most of that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Hello everyone, Chris here, a co-host of the podcast What's the Script. If you're interested in listening to myself and my co-host Craig having a laugh while hosting a movie review podcast, why not give us a listen? We review movies old and new, dropping in fun trivia along the way. We highlight great things in movies as well as not so great things, all in good fun of course. So if you love your movies as much as we do, why not give us a listen? We can be found on most social media websites as well as everywhere you go for podcasts at What's the Script. Thank you.
Right, okay then. That's the plugging out the way. So before we get into the main review then of Jingle All the Way, what have you been watching, Colin?
So I've been rewatching Hawkeye because it was a MCU show that I really enjoyed. Wasn't last year? It must have been the year before it came out. And it's basically a Christmas show because it is set during Christmas time. So I've been rewatching that. I've just got one episode to go of that. There's only 6 in total. I was also watching A Man on the Inside, which was the one about the guy who goes undercover at the old folks' home to catch a thief. And it's on Netflix. It's and I watched all of that. It was really good. I would highly recommend it. It's really funny and really heartfelt as well. So a few tears shed at the end of that. So I'd highly recommend watching that. It's only about 8 episodes. And what else have we been doing? Myself and Aileen watched I'm talking about Jaws. We watched a kind of shark movie last night on Netflix called Something in the Water, and it was absolutely awful, like laughably bad. Like the characters were annoying. It was just ridiculous. I'd probably recommend watching it just because it's so bad that you'll get a good kick out of it. Obviously, I watched Jingle All the Way this morning ahead of the podcast since we're starting a bit later. I thought I'd just watch it in the morning while I was nice and fresh. And I also, off the back of A Man on the Inside, the lead actor is also in. Don't know if you watched The Good Place or heard of it.
Is that with Ted Danson?
Yeah, so it's Ted Danson. It's in Man on the Inside as well. So off the back of that, I quite fancied watching it. I think I've only watched the first season, maybe a bit the second season. I think it was 4 in total. So I'm thinking of giving that a wee watch.
I've not seen The Good Place, mate, but I've just seen like an advert on. I can just see he's cooking.
The Man on the Inside is a really good watch. So if you're looking for something kind of lighthearted but heartfelt and not too long, then I'd recommend it.
I seen you posted something about that. I couldn't remember where it was now.
It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Because I got that confused with Inside Man. That's a Clive Owen film, which is a good film as well. So
that's about it. I've started making a list of the films I want to watch over the festive period. So I've already ticked off Jingle All the Way. So I'm not going to say, because these might be slight spoilers for my picks for the poll for this week, but I am wanting to do a wee Gavin and Stacey binge ahead of the final episode on Christmas Day. Did
you say you're making a list?
I might even check it twice.
There you go. Good man. For me, I've just watched Lost, mate. So So
the island's got you.
I finished season 3 there. So listen, season 3 is good. It's one of my favourite seasons, I think, but it's the island. It's just one of those ones where you've got to give it your full attention. You know what I mean? I just don't have time to be watching anything else anyway. Do you know what I mean? Work's extremely busy just now as well. So whenever I do get a bit of downtime, if you want to call it that, then I'll batter on Lost and then whatever film we're reviewing. So That's me.
I'm literally just, as I've said before, just firing things on if I'm sorting through washing or doing the dishes, all the kind of menial tasks. I've just got my phone sitting in front of me while I'm doing the mind-numbing task, you know.
I do put Lost in the morning. Do you know what I mean? When I'm getting ready and that, and doing the usual stuff before work.
I like something on in the background when I'm getting organised, etc.
Aye. Excellent. Right, okay then, buddy. So get that out of the way. So, as voted by you guys, our Seismic supporters, there you go.
I think we need to just stick with that now.
Yeah, I think so as well. So Jingle All the Way was voted by you, so I'm quite happy about that, mate, because Jingle All the Way is my favourite Christmas film. The shadow of
Ooh, spoilers.
yeah. I may as well tell you now. So
It's in my top. It's probably my second favourite.
aye, well, I know what your favourite is, mate. So I won't say that just now.
Definitely my top 5. Definitely my top 3. Yeah.
Okay, so it was released in 1996. What age were you in 1996, buddy?
5.
You were 5 years old.
Perfect target audience for the film.
I was 11. So, so it's directed by Brian Levant. Screenplay was by Randy Cornfield. The cast consisted of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hubbard, Sinbad as Myron, Phil Hartman as Ted, Rita Wilson as Liz, Jake Lloyd as Jamie, Jim Belushi as the Mall Santa, and that was the only ones I kind of wanted to write down because those are the main players.
So yeah, Phil Hartman.
Uh-huh.
You might remember him from sorry. Such an iconic voice.
Aye, it's a shame, isn't it? What happened to him, man? Taken far too soon, man. Horrible death. Anyway, we're here to talk about that. So, I'm sure your Star Wars reference is quite handy, mate, because I'm sure you'll get it in.
It's quite an easy one. I've got my Harry Potter one as well.
Have you? Right, okay, I look forward to that one then.
We'll get to it.
IMDb score for this was 5.7, man, which is absolutely horrendous.
That made me. I was surprised and B extremely angry when I saw that. I was like, I just don't get it.
When I checked out this morning, mate, I just wanted to die. I was raging. I'm still on. Rotten Tomatoes was 41%. So, or tomatoes, I should say. Rotten Tomatoes, no tomatoes.
Has this been like retrospectively review bombed or something?
Oh, well, it gets worse than that, mate. So the tagline for the film, as I've started to introduce, is 2 dads, 1 toy, no prisoners, which is quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
The awards for Jingle All the Way. It only received, I think, what I could only find is 1 award. It was the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, the family category, and it was for favourite supporting actor. So Sinbad managed to win the award for that.
Well deserved.
He was good in it. Was Sinbad as Myron. But I took a wee note of kind of the nominations it got for other awards, and it was nominated for the Stinker Bad Movie Awards.
What?
Right. So according to the sources of
it can't just be us. Like loads of people I know love this film.
100%, man. I don't know. I don't know if they just thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was just kind of that way. He should be action hero, and he kind of moved away from the action hero kind of into
He still was a wee bit.
I know. But anyway, so Arnold Schwarzenegger was nominated for the worst actor.
What?
Rita Wilson was nominated for the worst actress, and Jingle All the Way as a film was nominated for the worst film.
That's baffling. That's ruined my childhood.
So, that's the way I see it, mate. Is there's nothing wrong with us, mate. There's something wrong with other people.
I think this just shows that how meaningless awards and ratings are. Like, there's a reason why this is in both of our top 2s. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
In terms of Christmas films.
We're definitely not one, mate. You know what I mean? So
it seems popular on social media because when What's the Script did it as well. Like they obviously love it as well. So
aye, I don't know who's putting this in, but we'll in true Liam Neeson fashion, we're hunting them down. Right, so do you manage to find any trivia, buddy?
I was a wee bit late in the day looking into it, but there was a couple of bits. But do you want to go first in case I steal your bit?
Sorry, mate, I thought there was something outside there.
Is it Turbo Man?
Sorry?
Was it someone with a Turbo Man doll?
Right, so first bit of trivia that I managed to find was Sinbad. So he did a lot of, cause I think he was well known for like Saturday Night Live and things like that. So he wasn't like an actual actor. He was just kind of in a kind of comedy scene. But a lot of his lines he improvised, and it was all ad hoc. And the stuff that he brought to it, the kind of chaotic energy and the kind of the chaos, carrying around the mail sack and all that sort of thing. It was all kind of done like he did that himself. It wasn't stupid or anything. So that was good that he brought that to it, because he did bring a lot of humour to the to the film, mate. You know what I mean?
He's probably my favourite character in the film, actually.
Aye. I'll go with another one as well, mate. The film was inspired by the holiday shopping frenzies of the 80s. So the Cabbage Patch Kids, Power Rangers, and the Tickle Me Elmo.
Mm-hmm.
So I managed to find that.
We bit like when we did the Toy Story review, like kind of the Buzz Lightyear frenzy as well,
Well, was it Toy Story came out after this, didn't it?
Yeah, Toy Story was not far. No, actually, did Toy Story not come out before this?
Did it?
Toy Story was 95, so the year before.
All right, aye. Which you can find, we done a review on Toy Story a couple of months back, so if you like Toy Story and all that, you can go back and check that out. So whenever I watch this film, mate, it brings me back to my childhood of trying to find a Buzz Lightyear. I know I went over that before in the Toy Story review, but it was gold dust. You couldn't get a Buzz Lightyear for love or money. No, you could.
It was basically the real life version of this movie, wasn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. Aye. And then if you couldn't get Buzz Lightyear, you had to get a Mr. Potato Head, and that's like what I got. Do you know what I mean?
Or make your own Slinky.
Aye. So I got the equivalent of Booster. No one likes you, Booster. So, aye. What about yourself, mate? What other trivia did you muster up?
Well, I had a couple of those ones because, to be honest, I didn't get very far down the IMDb thing, and I didn't want to hold us up. So, the other one I thought was quite interesting is the Fox were sued by a biology teacher called Brian Webster, who had came up with the kind of initial script idea, and he kind of showed it to Fox, but they didn't go through with it, and then later on they brought it out. So the studio Fox were ordered to pay $19 million, which was reduced to $1.5 million because the studio said that Webster's script was submitted after they had purchased a treatment of what would become the movie's script. So yeah, long story short, they were kind of taken to court about the kind of origins of the story, which was quite interesting.
All right. So a biology teacher managed to write the script.
Maybe it's him writing all these bad reviews.
Aye, that will teach them. Okay. Right, okay, then we might kind of fire in some trivia as we're going to go in then, buddy, through the scenes and stuff. So, obviously, you could have touched on it a wee bit about it was a childhood film. So, your history of the film, then obviously you've seen this a few times before, and it's not the first time you've seen it. So, you can talk about your history of the film. Is it one you kind of revisit every year?
So I don't really recall the first time I watched it. I just feel like I've always watched this at Christmas. I don't really remember the origin point, but yeah, it's definitely one I watch every single year, and I've got it on DVD actually. I'm sure I do anyway, but I watched it on Disney Plus this time around. Introduced it to my stepson last year, and he really enjoyed it as well. And in true fashion, I tried to see if I could find a Turbo Man doll online, and they were expensive, like you could find some on like eBay and stuff, but they were like in the hundreds. Do you know what I mean? They weren't even in 2024. They weren't kind of cheap to go by. And yeah, just I don't ever remember having it on video cassette. So I reckon it must have just been one that was on the TV quite a lot back in the day.
Aye.
But yeah, it's definitely one that I'll definitely watch. Like one of like 3 or 4 that I would watch every single Christmas.
Because that's a wee bit of trivia as well that I managed to find. Is like they released a limited number of Turbomans when the film came out, and like you say, they'll be very expensive. They're kind of collector's items. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to part with them unless it's going for a good bit of money. So, aye.
I really want one now.
You might find the one Spanish, but and falls apart in the box. I don't know.
Hence my choice of wardrobe.
It's fun and educational at the same time, mate. You know what I mean?
Some assembly required.
For me, I don't remember the origin point either. I did have it in tape, VHS, and it's one me and my brother watched all the time. And we would bug the life at my mum and dad because we always wanted to watch it in the living room. And we'd always just have it on, and it would be like obviously Christmas time. It would be on. And probably throughout the year as well, to be honest with you. It was that good a film, you know what I mean? So can we watch Turbo Man in here? Can we watch Jingle Away in here? And you go, no, and eventually we cave in, do you know what I mean? So
do you tend to watch Christmas films outside of Christmas time?
Not really, mate, no. Because at the end of the day, I don't like to maybe when I was younger, Jingle Away would have been when I was younger, but see now, if I watch it that like all the time, or maybe 2 or 3 times during the year, then it kind of takes away the kind of the magic. Christmas element of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different with horrors. I feel like horrors you can watch anytime really out of the year. Maybe, but there's maybe certain ones you like to watch at Halloween, maybe like kind of like Scream or the likes, maybe. But Christmas I like to just even after Christmas Day is past, I kind of don't really want to watch specific Christmas films. I more kind of delve into. I've got like certain films I like to watch during the Christmas holidays, but that aren't necessarily Christmas films, you know.
Aye. Is Star Wars one by chance?
Maybe, but I think that'd be a good idea for January. Actually, is our polls could be films that we quite like watching during the festive period that aren't necessarily Christmas films, that are maybe like kind of just fun family films, you know.
Aye. Right, let's get wild in then. Let's get put into the review. So the first, like I say, we'll just kind of pick and choose scenes and things like that, key moments, and we'll kind of fire in quotes as we go. But the opening scene, mate, is like a Turbo Man, a TV show, isn't it? It's a TV show. It's like Power Rangers. It kind of reminds me of Power Rangers. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it had that kind of vibe, didn't it?
Aye. It was like the kind of fast-paced action, kind of Power Rangers sort of thing. And I thought, like, no, obviously it's hard to when you first watch the film, it's like, oh, this is kind of like almost like live action type of thing. But it was good that they done that, because I think it was quite, to start off the film like that, it kind of takes you back in time to that point, because right away, like I'm thinking Power Rangers and all things like that. The film's obviously based on the kind of Power Rangers kind of getting the toy and things, so it's probably done that way on purpose. You know what I mean?
It wasn't even that long ago for me, because Power Rangers was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but I was watching some of the original series even like a couple of years ago on Netflix.
Is it on Netflix? I thought the film was on Netflix, but I didn't realize
the original the original show was on. I don't know if it still is, but it was in the fairly recent past anyway.
Aye. So you get the Turbo Man. He fights the Dementor. Oh, that's your Harry Potter reference, isn't it?
That's my Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
I wondered if J.K. Rowling got the name from there.
I don't know. I'm hearing noises outside here, man. I don't know what's going on.
This isn't The Conjuring. This is Jingle All the Way.
I know. I don't know what's going on here. So Turbo Man saves the day, and he comes up with his catchphrase. You can always count on me. You can always count on me. So that's then you get after that you get the the scene where Howard Helmut Schwarzenegger, he's in work at a Christmas party, but he's kind of just still working away. So I think he works for some kind of kind of mattress factory.
It says it sells mattresses on IMDb. Yeah.
Mattress factory or something like that. So he's still working constantly. He's at a Christmas party, but he's kind of has to go because Jamie's karate tournament, karate competition or something like that. So
recital, no, not
recital. They call it recital. So he's on the phone talking to his customers, who are always number one customers. He's just one of the kind of salesman, isn't he? And then his wife comes on the phone and it's like, "Oh, hi Liz, I'll be there at Jamie's karate recital, blah, blah, blah." And then at the end he goes, "You're my number one customer." So that was quite funny as well, mate.
Yeah.
So he gets to kind of the karate bit. He doesn't get to the karate, so he's on his way to the karate recital, and he's stopped by the police officer who is a frequent flyer in the show, in the film. So what did you make it kind of the scene from getting from work to the karate recital then?
I think it just shows you the mixed bag of a parent that he is. He obviously cares a lot about his son, and he is keen to get to see his karate. And you see throughout the film how much he does want to please his son and to do good by him. But he's obviously not unlike other characters we've seen in recent movies we've reviewed. He's quite absent, a bit of a workaholic, and he's been kind of letting down both his wife and his son. And it's been quite interesting to watch this. Now that I'm a father myself, and now that I'm married as well, it does give you a kind of different perspective on a lot of things than when you watch it when you're a kid,
That's it. Because obviously being, Jamie's, he's always looking out for his dad, isn't he, in the karate hall and things, and he's about to kind of get his purple belt, and he's still not there.
Mm-hmm.
He feels disappointed and kind of let down the fact he didn't make it in time, and he didn't make it at all. And that's the kind of thing, he idolizes his dad, doesn't he? Like he in a way that he is the kind of real life Turbo Man to him, but he keeps letting him down, and he always compares him to Turbo Man, doesn't he, as well? Like he keeps his promises, and his dad doesn't, and things. So there's that element to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
See, before it, obviously he meets the copper, doesn't he? That he's trying to get to the karate recital, and he's on the hard shoulder, and he's trying to get there quicker, and he's quite smart about it. And then the copper pulls him over, and he's like, "Can you hurry up? I'm in a bit of a rush here." and he go somewhere.
That never plays well in movies, does it?
No, right. So you don't. Yeah, the moment you say that to an officer, he's just going to pull you out the car, isn't he?
I thought it was a good use of a recurring character, because every scene that the copper's in is good for the kind of comedy aspect. And there's the scene at the very end as well where he turns around and sees him as well.
Aye,
he does commit a lot of felonies in this film, really, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. We'll kind of talk about that as we go. But it's like so he gets him to recite the alphabet, and then he goes backwards. I mean, that's obviously difficult as it is. Never mind the fact he would be drunk. If he was drunk, he wouldn't be able to do it. So that was just him being an arse back to him, basically. Do you know what I mean? So it was a good introduction to the police officer as well. So
yeah,
we get a wee introduction to Ted as well at the karate recital, because he's Howard and Lizzie's neighbour, and he's he seems like quite a handyman. He's quite in with the ladies, isn't he?
He's Ned Flanders, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yes, he's Ned Flanders. He's in with the ladies. There's wee kind of innuendos in there as well. Do you know what I mean? So a good introduction to him. He's obviously he's taken a liking to Liz, shall we say?
Understatement.
But he's taking a liking to Liz, and he's kind of flirting with her at every opportunity and things like that. So you see him there, but Howard goes to he eventually gets to the place, and it's like it's dead. I don't know why he bothers getting into the place, because it's quite clearly it's empty. You know what I mean? So
just for that dramatic movie moment of the empty gym hall in it.
I get that, but it's come on, use your noggin. Do you know what I mean? Just there's nobody there. There's nobody there at home. So he goes home and he sees Ted on the roof, and he's a wee bit annoyed because putting the Christmas decorations up is part of his kind of traditions. And he's kind of taken over a wee bit. He's kind of being the father. How did you feel, mate? You know what I mean? Like, do you put the Christmas decorations up in your house?
It's a bit of a mixed bag. Like, I get them out a lot. Well, this is my first Christmas in my new house, but I get them out a lot and stuff. I'm not particularly good at putting a Christmas tree up, but I do like to be involved in the process. Yeah, but I'm maybe not as territorial as he is in this film.
Do you have Christmas lights out in the front on the roof and all that?
Well, we've not lived here yet, so this is my first Christmas here. We lived in a flat before, so it's really just been like internal decorations. But we had a lot of it was quite funny actually when I lived at home. We had a giant Homer Simpson, like massive, like taller than me, like lit up outside the front of the house. That was like one of the ones we had at one point. So I had quite a lot of decorations and stuff at my parents' house, but because I've lived in flats and just moved here, I've not really delved into that yet, you know.
Aye. So when he gets in the house, he's quite to make up to Jamie, of course, and Jamie's annoyed at him. Jamie's watching Turbo Man, you know, as he always is. Howard comes in, he's trying to engage conversation with him. He's running away from his dad. He doesn't want to see him because he's disappointed, obviously, that he wasn't there. And then you get the moment where you get a wee bit of Howard's trying to crack a few jokes and things like that, and he goes talking about his hands being registered weapons and all that sort of stuff. And then you get he puts the karate belt around his head and does the noises. I'm surprised they kept that in, because Disney are usually quite, because I watched it in Disney as well, mate. I've got a DVD, but there's a lot of kind of things that's in Disney that is cut out on Disney, but on Disney, but I'm surprised they kept that bit in, mate. To be honest with you, I thought they'd have chopped that. I was surprised.
Yeah.
He does the karate noises, he's like,
it's just that desperation, isn't it? He's just trying to make him laugh or get his forgiveness. So he's obviously quite desperate at this point.
Aye. And that's when he says to him, what can I do to make it up to you, Jamie? Jamie! How can I make it up to you? And he's like, I want, and that's the quote from the start of the episode. He wants the Turbo Man doll, and he goes, no bother. He's oblivious to the fact, you know what I mean? I'll pick one up in the water, no bother. You know what I mean? And then he says to Liz, where are you going? Because this is the next day, Christmas Eve. I'm going to go and pick up Turbo Man. He goes, I told you that months ago. You don't get one now. And his face drops, and he's having to go to
that scene when the lights go off in bed and it's just his face like absolutely shocked, you know.
So he wakes up early in the morning and then has to go and find the Turbo Man, and this is where the start of the frenzy begins.
Shenanigans.
So he goes to a toy store first of all to try and find a Turbo Man. And there's a scene that's just like, it's not even 9 o'clock yet, and the guy points to his watch. You can't come in until it's 9 o'clock, and it's chaotic outside. There's people like trying to batter down the door and all that. You think that still happens nowadays, man? There's like queues outside doors like at this time of year?
I don't think enough people shop. But it's sad, like, although you also don't want to see violence, it's kind of sad that this has become just like something from like the 90s now, isn't it? Like people's shopping habits aren't the same anymore. See the women when they're also when you meet Sinbad in this scene, and then there's the woman with the coat. Is she the same woman that drives away with the toy? because she's got the kind of fur coat.
Oh, I didn't pick that up,
Yeah.
mate. Aye, would have been, aye.
Because they emphasised, didn't they, in both scenes about the kind of fur coat? Because he's like, Sinbad's trying to play that off as, oh, you shouldn't wear fur or something like that.
Aye. So, I didn't realise that, aye. So he's outside the queue, he's trying to get in front of the queue, he's getting told to go back in line, whatever. Well, there was no line, but there was a crowd of folk. And then it's this is where he meets Myron, who's played by Sinbad, who's a postal worker, and he's looking for the same toy. And they have a kind of common ground to find this toy, but quickly it becomes a bit of a rivalry that they're trying to, outdo each other to try and get this toy. But it's quite here. We spoke about commercialism, like and consumerism and all that sort of stuff last week in Violet Night, and there's kind of talk of it during this film as well. You know what I mean? That he said it's just a ploy for like toy companies to spend money and all that sort of stuff. Because Myron says he talks about that, and he talks about what's going to happen. The toy's going to break, and the kid's going, want to play with the box and all that sort of stuff. And it's he just basically says, it's everything that's made nowadays or back in 1996 when the film was out. It's just cheap plastic, and it's costing a fortune, and it's no good. So I thought that was quite good. Again, they brought that into it because a lot of these kind of Christmas films, they want to kind of talk about the spirit of Christmas and the meaning behind it and all that sort of stuff. And this kind of points in that direction as well. Do you know what I mean? But the theme of this film is about loving, and all that sort of thing. But there's a wee kind of wee bit of that thrown into it as well, which I don't know if you caught that or not, mate.
Yeah. Can I just say that this is most definitely one I can add to the repertoire of business films? Because there's obviously the whole commercializing and advertising side of it, but there's also, he talks about like cartels, like toy companies forming cartels to up the prices. And see when they go into the store, they're basically talking about like dynamic pricing, which Ticketmaster were getting accused of. See when the Oasis tickets were on sale, and they were just like putting them right up. So they were basically he's like, by the order of supply and demand, they now cost X. So it actually is something I could use in class in terms of the pricing strategies and stuff. So there is a lot of that kind of stuff in here, and the manager of the shop was just totally like hard line, like just the way he spoke to the customers, the way he spoke to the employees. Because then later in the film, he's like, stand in a queue and you'll be given a ball, and it basically showed that the retailers at this time held all the power, and that like nowadays it's the customer that's really got a lot of the power, because there's so many different places you can shop online that but back then it was just like, this is the only place you can get it, so we'll make you pay whatever we want,
Well, that's one thing I noticed, because he spoke about supply and demand and all that. And the list figure just doubled, and I was like, you cheeky sod. But I mean, it must be something. I didn't realise that was something you could do. But the Oasis tickets, I was trying to bumped up to crazy money, and I was like, there's no way I was paying that.
That's what they were doing. Like no matter, like depending on how many people were online at the time, they were just like moving them up,
Aye. So in the toy store, Myron and Howard do become a wee bit they get involved in a wee tussle, and it he knocks him over his meal bag. Howard's on the floor, and he gets the toy car and trips him up and things. So it's a wee bit kind of slapstick comedy in there as well, I think. So it introduced that to them. But as they kind of walked it, kind of moving on now, Howard is checking up. And that shows you as well, by the way, seeing that time, there was no mobile phones, because Howard has to use a payphone to phone his host. So
I think that added to the tension of the chase as well, didn't it? Having to take that time to, like, kids nowadays watching this film will be like, what are they doing?
Aye. So Howard phones home. You know, he's just checking up and all that sort of stuff. And this scene is probably my favourite scene, mate, to be honest with you. It's got to be.
One of the cookies.
The cookies. So Howard phones house, and it's Ted that answers the phone, and he's like, "What are you doing in my house?" He's like, "What?" And he's eating. So Liz is baking cookies, and and he's emphasising this as well. Like, and all he wants to do is just talk to Liz. He wants to know. He wants to tell her. But I think he wants to tell her, he's a double man, but he can't get to that point because Ted's on the phone talking about how good the cookies are, and he's like, those cookies. And Alan's just like,
it was so.
You're eating my cookies. You eating my cookies. Put that cookie down now.
It was so creepy when, like, he basically instructed her to go for a shower. It was like it's just quite a random thing as well. But I think at this point of the film, he wasn't that threatened by Ted, because he was kind of like, right, you're there, okay, but can you just pass the phone on? But as the film progresses and as Ted tries his luck even more, I think he becomes more threatened, and that's where he kind of ups his game a bit more. But I think at this stage, Ted's just an inconvenience to him, and he just wants to speak to his family, basically.
He's just an annoying neighbour, isn't he? But this scene, he's quite creepy, Ted. You know what I mean? He's quite. He's like, I'm not got. Well, he is, but really creepy. I'm not going to do this justice at all, doing these voices, man. Right? But I'm going to say one thing. I plugged bits of script earlier on in the podcast, but see these guys, right? They did this episode fantastically well. Have you heard it, Colin?
I did watch it back in the day, yeah.
Aye, so that I was in stitches for ages after it, man. And go and check this episode out. The impressions are brilliant, man. So aye, I'm not going to do it justice. Nowhere near it. But aye, we can try. But Ted is in eating the cookies. He's eating Howard's cookies. He's said to Liz to go for a shower, and he's kind of in the house, kind of snooping around and all that sort of stuff, and helping out and with the kids. Stuff that Howard should be doing, really. Do you know what I mean? But he's no, because he's obviously everything to pick up. But the way he says, someone's baking up a storm in here. So and Mars too.
I wouldn't want to try any impressions of the characters in the films, but
I
quite enjoy doing just like the Troy McClure voice.
Oh, you can try it, man. You can do it because it's all about. Because every time you watch it, man, it's the way films.
When you least suspect it. Just one thing else that happened in this scene was Ted's mask slipped a bit, because he puts himself out there as like this great dad, this really nice guy. But did you notice when he burns himself? He's like, keep the noise down, or he just like screams at the kids, basically. So he goes like that. Pipe down in there. He was showing that he's not maybe all that meets the eye. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, so his mask slipped, man, and then you could see that he wasn't the kind of doting, kind of lovely neighbour. Do you know what I mean? I think he's run out of patience. Then that was all an act for Liz. Do you know what I mean? So, one thing we didn't mention as well, that Ted bought a reindeer.
Aye. Yeah.
For Johnny, who's his son. So that
thing is, what makes Ted, I don't want to use the word, relatable is the wrong word, realistic, is there are people like him in the world who do put themselves out to be the greatest person of all time, and they will use that to their advantage in terms of like romantic pursuits. So he's quite realistic as a character in that sense.
I thought Phil Hartman was really good in this film, mate. Do you know what I mean? I know him from one other film, and obviously The Simpsons as well, but he was in, you seen Toy Soldiers?
I haven't seen Toy Soldiers, no. Very on brand.
Sorry?
Very on brand for me.
No, that's true. That's a film I watched kind of back in the day as well. Anyway, moving on then. So we're going to talk about the mall scene. So there's a lot happening in the mall here. So he goes to the mall again. He meets Myron, and basically it's that kind of scene we're talking about there's going to be red balls. The list figure just doubled, and whoever gets a ball is in the queue for a Turbo Man figure. I think the balls have got a number on it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in there. And one thing I will say as well, see this bit. It shows you how much power, like you say, mate, that the retailers have. Do you know what I mean? It's they all stand in the line. Tell them to shut up at one point as well. I'm sure. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's you wouldn't get away with that nowadays. But the retailers kind of henchmen are handing out the balls, and eventually he goes, nah, this is not working. So they fling the balls in the air, and it's a race to get the balls. And him and Myron are fighting each other again, everyone, and Myron's got 2, and he's dancing and goes, I've got 2, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, he got 2, and they all just jump on Myron, and then the ball runs away, kind of rolls away rather, and then this wee lassie gets it, and he chases the wee lassie.
It's not a boy.
No, it's a wee lassie, mate, I'm sure.
Sure? I'm sure it said it was a boy.
Is it? I'm sure it's a lassie. Wee lassie. Good Brian. I'm sure it's a lassie. Anyway, chased the lassie, ends up into a ball pit, and then a very questionable scene, I would say here, mate, to be honest with you. What did you make of that then? The whole kind of mall scene and then getting chased.
I think this film is one where you just need to suspend your disbelief a wee bit. Like, you could be desperate to get something for your child, but I don't think you would actually stoop so low as to climb through like the soft play thing and into a ball pool. And obviously the parents didn't think a lot of it either with some of the words that were getting thrown his way. It's funny though, because the child knew what was going on. You know that bit when he looks back at him and just smiles with the ball. He's like, they knew exactly what was happening. So it was funny. It was, again, there are a lot of parts of this film that I don't know if you would see. It's been a bit of a recurrent trend with films we've reviewed from the 90s, but that scene, would you see that scene nowadays? Possibly not. I don't know. It depends on the vibe of the film, I suppose, but it doesn't hide the fact, like the parents, the mums start like hitting him with bags and calling him a pervert and all these things. So it's not like the film shies away from the fact that he went a bit far, you know?
Aye. No, like the wee lassie knew what he was doing. Do you know what I mean? Because the camera shot where he's going through the kind of the tunnel. And he's just kind of crawling through the tunnel, and he looks across, and the wee lassie's got the wee shiny red ball, and he's like, I get it, but he puts his hands on her as well, mate. You know what I mean? He tries to swallow it, and he tries to grab her face and get her to spit it out. Do you know what I mean? So I was probably more surprised the fact that the woman didn't hit him before now. Do you know what I mean? We had to wait until that point.
Yeah. Nah, I think it was just a scene that highlighted his absolute desperation to fix. I think the phone call with Ted being at home would have upped his, not to make excuses for him, but it was kind of upping his anxiety as well.
Aye. So we're still in the mall, and then we meet Backdoor Santa.
They call me Backdoor Santa.
A girl from Die Hard's theme tune. So Backdoor Santa's played by Jim Belushi, isn't it? Did I get that right?
So,
yeah. Jim Belushi. So he's the mall Santa, but you've got the wee elf guy as well. He's in loads of stuff, but I can't remember what elf he's in. But he basically he sees, is he in Bad Santa? I don't know, can't remember now.
I think he's in another Christmas film, yeah.
He's typecasted anyway, I think. So anyway, so the mall Santa sees how desperate he is. He obviously is aware of the fact that he's tried to assault a young child in a ball pit as well. And he's like, "You want a Turbo Man? I can get a Turbo Man." And he shows you the picture of the Polaroid picture of the elf. He goes, "That was taken this morning." So he goes with him to.
See, just before that though, is he not just like the most like crook looking Santa you've ever seen in your life?
Oh, definitely, mate.
Just right away.
Aye. So he goes with him to the Santa factory or the black market or something like that, right? And he goes in, chaps the door to the Jingle Bell kind of theme. He goes, "What's the password? This is my Batman thing today. Jingle bells, Batman smells."
I think even before that, like it just looks so seedy from the get go with like the wired fences, and then you've
Aye.
got this like vicious dog at the gate as well.
That's right. Something's not quite kosher.
Uh,
So he goes in, he gets his Turbo Man. He goes, how much did they charge him again? Is it like $200 or
I
something?
think it was $300.
$300. And he goes, "What, dollars?" He goes, "No, chocolate kisses."
Yeah.
So he reluctantly, he hands it over and he gets the Turbo Man, opens it right enough, do you know what I mean? And then it all falls apart and he presses a button and it's a Spanish Turbo Man. Which is obviously, he didn't know that at the time. He wants his money back, not getting it back, and he calls them all crooks and degenerates and things. And they all start like a big Barney. And then
that escalated quickly.
It did. Anchorman.
We're doing Anchorman in 2025, by the way. I'm adamant.
Okay. So he's fighting all the Santa Clauses, and then out of nowhere, the Big Show comes out. The wrestler, he's the big Santa, and he's just the size of the Big Show compared to him. Obviously, it's not that size in real life. It's obviously camera shots, but he just looks so much bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Which is no mean feat.
And exactly. And then he punches him and all the rest
What
of
is
it.
the big guy says? Is like, I'm gonna like ring your bell or something like that.
No, he goes, "I'm going to deck your hull. I'm going to deck your halls, bub. I'm going to deck your halls, bub."
There's a Wolverine line there.
Aye. So he punches him and he hits him with candy canes and stuff like that, and he gets in nowhere. And then you get Stanley Schwarzenegger done, and you get Mini Me for Austin Powers in there as well.
Vern Troyer, yeah.
Vern Troy. He's kind of grabbing Arnold Schwarzenegger's head, and then he kind of, as the Big Show's trying to punch him, he ducks and he punches the wee guy, knocks him flying. And that's
I don't think that scene would be in a modern film either. It reminds you of a bit out of Wolf of Wall Street and The In-Betweeners, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. Yeah,
I don't think that would fly nowadays.
So the police come and the raid come, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger commits a crime here by impersonating a police officer.
One of many.
Aye. So that was good. But that was. Did you enjoy that scene, mate? In the Santa Factory?
It's bonkers, isn't it? It's like the seedier side of Christmas, isn't it? With all the fake Santas and the crime, and I think I always go to call him Arnold. I'll just keep calling him Arnold Howard. I think he's trying not to resort to like plain violence, which he doesn't do later in the film, because he, like, instead of punching one of the Santas, he pulls the beard, doesn't he, and like smacks it into his face. So he's trying not to use his fists at certain points.
Aye.
But I think it just keeps. I think he's just getting more desperate as the film goes on and going to this place, which is obviously full of crooks. It's just further highlighting that desperation, isn't it?
Well, that's it. It does highlight that, because I don't see him going there unless he was desperate. Do you know what I mean? He was just wanting, and he had to come back as well for the parade at the end. He was running out of time, and it was the only kind of way he could actually get the Turbo Man.
Or is it?
Well, or is it? Exactly. So he commits a crime by impersonating a police officer, and then he see him at the kind of diner. Is it a diner or some sort of coffee shop? And he meets Myron.
Like a diner, yeah.
The size of New York, and he meet this guy 3 times. And
there's a lot of coincidences in this film, I would say.
Aye. Obviously, that's a bit tongue in cheek. It's a film at the end of the day, but to run into the same police officer in the 3 kind of the mailman Myron 3-4 times. You know what I mean? So he's in there, kind of talking to Myron. They're kind of, after they're kind of wee bus stop and whatever, they're talking to him. They're sharing a wee kind of alcoholic beverage with their coffee, whatever. And then on the radio, you hear the chance to win a Turbo Man, and you get if you can name all 8 reindeers, then you get a chance to win a Turbo Man.
Yeah.
Again, it comes to loggerheads because they're trying to fight over the phone. They pull the phone out the box, and then they go to the guy behind the counter. It was like
quite a nice guy.
The radio station's only $5 away or something. You can just walk there.
Just before that, though, I like the scene where Myron's talking about his childhood and how he was kind of let down by his father, and then Howard sees Myron and basically it's Jake Lloyd in it with the postman gear on, and then that's another thing that just fuels his right. I can't let this happen. I need to make sure I don't let him down. It's obviously an over exaggeration. It's not really about the toy. It's about the spending time together in it.
Aye, it's just about the spending time with his family and the love and all that sort of thing. It's not the toy is just a bit in the film. It's a metaphor, isn't it, for that? Yeah. So
one of my favourite scenes is coming up in this wee bit, by the way. See when they're running to the radio station, it's when Myron just keeps tossing the mails to speed himself up.
And he's doing nothing and all. And then you get Arnold Schwarzenegger just running past him, to, dash that on a Beatson, and he's just I'm having fun, bye. Yeah. And then, so they get to the radio station, and by the way, just to let you go back into what you said there about Myron talk about his childhood and things, and about his next door neighbour, getting everything. That relates to, Howard, his next door neighbour, his boy, he's getting everything, and he doesn't want that to kind of be his downfall. So he wants to obviously be a loving parent that he can be for Jamie. So they get to the radio station, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger, Howard, he is very, very animated to the fact that he boots the door open and the glass smashes, which I found really funny, by the way. It was a comedic part of it, And then he was just telling them, he goes like, he names all the reindeers, and he's like, one, he's hugging them and stuff like that, and then you get Myron coming in, and he's like, it's too late, I've already won. And then basically the radio presenter says, are you under the impression that I've got a Turbo Man doll here? And he goes, aye, that's what he said. And he goes, no, and he tries to give him a gift certificate. At this point, the both of them are absolutely, are beside each other. Do you know what I mean? They're crazy. But then you get Myron who pulls out a gift, a parcel for his device. And he goes, this is a homemade explosive device. And and then he's like, he lets it go, he drops it or something like that, and he goes, hit the deck. As if that would actually do anything, do you know what I mean? But it turns out to be a wee kind of wee musical box. And
there's a couple of things on that scene. Is it reminds me of an episode of The Simpsons when Bart wins a competition to win an elephant, and then they're refusing to give it to him, and he's just like, where's my elephant? Where's my elephant? And he just keeps going on for ages. And second of all, the DJ kind of radio presenter guy, he plays, this is a show I watched with my sister when I was a kid. He plays the head teacher in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the original 90s one.
You watched it with your sister, did you say?
I liked it as well, to be fair, but I did watch it with my sister. But the guy, the actor who plays him, it was Willard Kraft was his name in the show. He actually died this year. The DJ host. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah,
but Myron was funny because he's just couldn't be bothered with him, and he's like, "You think this is funny, Mr. Ponytail Man?"
Yeah.
That's when he brings it the homemade.
There's so many. Like, see this scene, this ball pit, the one at the factory. There's just so many. Plus the last segment of the film. It's all just so memorable.
Aye, but before Howard got into the actual room, the guy phoned the police, and then they all come, and then it's the same police officer who we've seen at the start of the film, and also when outside the toy shop as well, Howard ran over knocked down his bike and knocked his mirror off as well. So there's a scene I forgot to mention there, but this guy catches both Myron and Howard. And then that's when Myron pulls out another homemade explosive device. The Howard's already knows he's just full of crap. So he gets to put the guns down, and then Howard makes a dash for it, and so does Myron, because he's left the bomb there, or I should say the the parcel where he says it's a bomb, and the guy, has had 7 years in the bomb squad, 10 years in the bomb squad. I can't remember how many years that is now.
7, was it not?
7. I thought that. He's inspecting the parcel and thing. He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've been duped." And then by this point, Howard's outside the building, Myron's still inside the building, but at a different level. And then the guy rips open the parcel, and it is a homemade explosive device.
Should have killed them. Should have killed them all. I think that if you look at this compared to the last Christmas film we reviewed, I think Violent Night was just proper violence and gore, wasn't it? Whereas this was more. There wasn't a lot of consequence to the violence and the explosions and stuff.
It's all kind of slapstick in it. It's just the guy should have killed him, but he's got his hands become obviously.
We obviously him another twice, so he's fine. It's more like cartoon violence, like Looney Tunes violence, isn't it?
Aye, that's exactly what it is, mate. It's a family film at the end of the day, but he goes, you see Howard's face going, "That was a bomb." Then you see Myron, he goes, "That was a bomb. This is a sick world with some sick people." So it was good.
And if you like cartoon family films, we once reviewed Space Jam.
We did indeed. So that was the encounter with the police in the what do you call it, the radio station. So we're kind of getting near to the end now, but before we get to the parade where Turbo Man is, that's where he's running to. We see another clip of Ted and Liz. Well, Hibbers came back home. I should say Hibbers came back home, and he's disappointed. He's let Jamie down, and he's basically kind of thinking he sees Ted putting the star on his tree, and he's getting a bit annoyed by it. And he goes, "Well, I need to win. Why not? I need to show him." And he thinks back to a time where Ted goes, "I've got a Turbo Man nestled safely under the tree." So he thinks it's a good idea to go and steal the Turbo Man that Ted bought his son. Goes into the house, and it's a realization, the fact that he can't take the toy. That's no good karma and things.
I'm glad he had that. I'm glad he had that moment because it shows a bit of humanity and that he's not actually proud of himself.
Definitely. But this time he has this realization. The reindeer is about 2 seconds away from charging them, and he runs away from the reindeer who's charging in the house at this point, and then he knocks over some kind of nativity stuff in the fire pit, or the whatever it is, the fire. And he's trying to put the fire out, and he ends up kicking one of the things out the window, and that's where they see him red-handed with the Turbo Man doll that he's trying to take from the tree. And then you get the kind of Ted being quite smug at the time because Liz is falling out with him. Mm-hmm. But you can see the disappointment in Liz's face that he's resorted to this kind of tactics. And he's obviously disappointed himself as well because he doesn't want to be shown in this light, does he?
I think this is the point of the film where for a short while Liz is maybe starting to be interested in Ted because she's seen like what her husband's doing and not doing, and that I think for a very short spell of the film up to the car scene, I think she's maybe starting to like have a wee bit of an interest back. That's the way I looked at it anyway.
Well, I didn't take that point of view, mate.
Just for it, because like she became a wee bit more like relaxed with him and just a wee bit more natural with him for a short spell until he went too far. But there was another. Do you know what's interesting about this film though?
But
it's quite open that the two dads are buying the doll. It's like these are quite young kids. Like, do they not believe that Santa brings the presents? That bit confused me a wee bit because the present's already under the tree with the Turbo Man, so his son's going to know it's not from Santa. So it wasn't really touched upon, but
I thought that as well, mate. I wasn't really sure. To be honest with you,
or maybe because some families Santa brings gifts, but the family also buys some gifts as well. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Maybe Santa's bringing other gifts as well. I don't know. I didn't really touch on that. There was no reference to Santa Claus in the film at all.
Well, apart from the fake ones.
Well, I will say aye. The kind of commercialism part of
Yeah.
it. So Ted, he's obviously standing there at the same time because he's in Ted's house, and then at this point, Liz has had enough of him, had enough of Howard, and he's, can you run me and Jamie to the parade? So he does it. Or he says, "I'll be glad to." So,
He just makes a face at Howard.
I know. So get to the car scene then.
You missed just one great scene where it's not a great scene. It's not like a to be proud of scene, but he does punch the reindeer, and then they share a few beers as well.
Aye, sorry, yeah. So he's like, you picked the wrong day.
Because that's what I was saying. He was kind of resisting punching people up to the point where he punches the reindeer.
Animal rights activists are going crazy, mate. So that's
we don't approve here at Seismic Cinema of those actions. It was funny though when the reindeer just made the weird noise in the ground though. And then the reaction to it is that he's having beers with him, and then when he has to go, he's just like, right, you're on your own, and just pours the rest of the beer into the pot.
I like the bit where the reindeer just moved his seat as well, so he can put the beer in and then went back to
it. I think the reindeer forgave him, but no, he shouldn't have punched an animal. That's not right.
Aye, we don't condone that here at Seismic Cinema. Or killing sharks or anything along those lines. So in the car, so Phil, sorry, is his name? Ted is taking Liz to the parade, and he's having a wee kind of moment with her, talking about family values and things like that, and he shares a cup of non-alcoholic eggnog. By the way, have you ever had eggnog?
I have not.
Neither have I, mate. I don't even know what it is.
Also absolutely hate mince pies. They're not
nice.
You? No, they're not nice at all.
I love one. I love mince pies, mate.
Not for me.
No. Right, anyway, so they're having a wee kind of discussion of family values, and Ted at this point has upped his game. He sees his vulnerability there with Liz because of the fallout for Howard before, and he goes in to kiss her, doesn't
he? Yeah.
He puts his arm around her and he goes in to kiss her, and that's where Liz puts the eggnog in his face, like doesn't slap him, but just get out of my face. And what do you think of that scene, mate? It's creepy. Did you expect it to happen? Because it had to come to head at some point between them, didn't it? Because he was getting closer and closer.
I think again, we've talked about this so many times. It's the Ted scenes are quite hard to watch at times. Like it starts off he's just trying to like help out or try to talk to her, but he's obviously crossing a line when it comes to like putting his arm around her when she doesn't want it or kissing her when she doesn't want it. And I think she had to kind of protect herself. So fair play for doing it. As I said, I think there was a really slight spell. Let's see if he hadn't started forcing himself upon her in that way. I think if he'd played it a bit, see if he'd just been there for her emotionally without his agenda, I think they might have ended up together, possibly. But he was obviously, he's got this kind of dark side to him, so he was never going to hold back where Liz was concerned. So yeah, it was quite tough to watch at times, those scenes, but he did get his comeuppance, and he did get the eggnog all over his face and his glasses. So
yeah.
What did you make of just his actions and how it kind of stands the test of time nowadays in terms of?
I think it all depends on the film, mate. To be honest with you, like I mean, it's a family film. I think maybe a wee bit dark for this kind of film. I don't know, but because I think he did force himself a wee bit on her. Do you know what I mean? There's no getting away for that.
And he knew that because when he saw Howard shortly after, he was like, "We need to get out of here." He took his son away.
That's it. Because he knew he was in for a But you got when he disc to the face. Anyway, no, I agree with you, mate. I don't know. It depends on the type of film it is. Obviously, if it's a more kind of darker film with the nature that you would get as part of the
I think it just stands out because when you watch this as a kid, you would remember this happening, but unless you're like older, like a teenager or an adult, you wouldn't really understand that what he was doing was wrong when you're a kid.
No, definitely. Right, so we're kind of coming to the end now, and feel free to jump in, mate, if I've missed anything out. But basically, the parade scene, and Howard is running away from the police officer once more because he knocks him down, didn't he? Again, with coffee in his hands, and he runs into him, and then the coffee lands in his face and his hands. So he burns all his hands.
This guy's invincible.
And he runs. He's chasing Howard throughout New York, where the parade is, and he's kind of moving in between buses. And then the police officer runs into a bus, the back end of a bus as well. So he's injured once more. So the police officer is injured or has some sort of is consequenced by Howard's actions throughout the film. Do you know what I mean? So he's got a bit of a vendetta against Howard.
B for vendetta. Sorry.
B for vendetta. So Howard's running away from the police officer, and then he gets himself into a position where he's taken away because he is somewhere in the studio of the Turbo Man parade, and he's mistakenly took for the replacement of the original Turbo Man, who was in an accident, we find out. So he's been taken away. At this point of view, we can see everybody through Howard's eyes because we don't see what he's getting changed into.
Yeah.
We just see his point of view, and they're all talking to him, and he's getting changed. You can see stuff getting put on him and things. And then the guy who goes like, "Oh, the original Turbo Man, the original guy, showed some brain activity today." So it shows you how dangerous or how potential dangerous the stunts were going to be.
Yeah.
But the camera clip turns around and you see Howard as Turbo Man. What did you think of that then, man? Before we get into the fight between the Dementor.
I think it's a great way to end the film because the film's obviously been about Howard, it's been about Jamie, it's been about Turbo Man and these other characters like Booster and Dementor. And I think it's just a fantastic way to end the film. See, having him as Turbo Man and then Jamie getting the opportunity to get the toy, but then ultimately choosing not to. I think it was a great way to end the film. I just wondered before we get into the fight bit, who did you spot in the parade? Like kind of popular characters? There's obviously a few behind me here.
I've seen Sonic the Hedgehog,
We've got the Crayola crayons. It's like a who's who of the 90s, and then it's the cat in the hat. And you've also got, who else do you get in the? There's a few others. They've escaped me now, but there was a few others in the crew. This scene always reminds me weirdly of the scene in the first Spider-Man film. You know, when Green Goblin attacks.
That's right. Aye.
This kind of parade scene always kind of reminds me of that.
I don't get this sort of parades where we are, man.
Yeah.
Aye. So Jamie's got the opportunity. Well, Howard's got the opportunity to pick a kid from the crowd to get the Turbo Man. He's got the Turbo Man in his hand, and he's like, I've got it. I've finally got it. Do you know what I mean? He's got the chance to pick Jamie from the crowd. So he picks Jamie from the crowd. He gives him the Turbo Man, and then at this point, he kind of flicks between Turbo Man and the Dementor. Dementor, not the Dementor.
Dementor.
And he's getting lassoed. He gets lassoed, doesn't he? He gets a stick, slapstick and all. So Myron captures the original Dementor, and he's taken over. So they're completely off script now. So both Howard and Myron, who have got no idea what the script is, are completely just going for the toy and to keep Jamie safe, I suppose. And they fight one another. You get the Dementor's kind of henchmen, don't you, as well, who just remind you of the putties from Power Rangers.
The putties.
Yeah,
good
you
times.
see all that sort of stuff, and then you get the chase between Jamie and Dementor. He's after the doll. Give me the doll, kid.
I've got a lot of issues with the end scene.
Right,
I don't know if you do, but
talk to me.
One, it's not really aged well. See the scenes where Turbo Man's flying and like the action scenes, it's not aged very well. I'll be honest. It is a wee bit like Spider-Man 1 in in some regards. But I think for me it was the lack of urgency. Like the mum is down on the ground, right? And Jamie's at one point hanging just by his fingertips high up in the sky. And she's just like, oh, like she just makes like a relief sound. Like surely if your child is hanging, you're like absolutely like hysterical, not just been like, oh, that's good, he's saved. And there's a bit where Howard actually forgets that Jamie's still hanging there, and he's like, oh yeah, Jamie. It was just there was just this the visuals aside, which have aged quite a bit. I just feel like there was just a total lack of like it was such a more serious situation than it appeared. Even Jamie, like a young kid, yeah, you might be enjoying like meeting your hero, but you're hanging from like a really thin barrier miles above, about to plunge to your death. I didn't feel like any of the characters in the scene were that bothered or were actually playing it that seriously. I don't know your thoughts.
I agree with you, mate. I mean, it was a bit kind of. At one point, the cop says to Liz, "Oh, that's my son." He goes, "Oh, he's doing a good job." It's not part of the script. He goes, "That's not part of the script." But there was no urgency. You're right. I mean, you would imagine Liz being in hysterics. The fact her son's hanging from her.
She doesn't seem that fast.
No, I know. And then where were the police? I know about the bottom, like they were trying to put in the parachute fall thing, but you think it would be a wee bit more kind of. No one's told them that this is not part of the script.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Even the bit where he's they first see Dementor and they're all booing him. He's like, "Get up, you." You know what I mean? and the two people go like that. Is that part of the script? Who I hated, by the way. So there's the two people who were kind of the kind of commentators.
Yeah,
it was just too cheesy for me, mate. So
it's not my only issue with the final scene. Just the ridiculousness that neither the mum or the son realize. I know it's just a bit of a trope in these kind of films, but the fact they don't recognize one of the most iconic voices in cinema history, or visually recognize that they're obviously just playing it off for that reveal moment, but it's not like, I know you get the whole like Superman Clark Kent, like you wouldn't recognize him with his glasses on or whatever, but it was too much like suspension of disbelief for me that they wouldn't have recognized him, particularly when he shouts Jamie's name and had no way of knowing that it was Jamie.
Well, see, the thing is, I watched it again, obviously, like last night, right? And they say that he's got a voice changer. Now, it's not enough.
He's not got a face changer.
I know, but it's not enough. The voice changer isn't enough to disguise his voice completely. So, even when he shouts Jamie's name, Jamie, you know it's going to be him. You know what I mean?
I know. It's just like, I love this film, but some of the end scene, you'll see when we do our scores, some of the end scene does bring it down a wee bit for me.
Okay, man. Okay.
Doesn't ruin my love for it, but if I'm looking at it from a critical sense, which we have to here at Seismic Cinema, then you know.
So, massive chase. Dementor gets the Turbo Man from Jamie's backpack, and he ends up falling because of the boomerang that he's got. Turbo Man's got, so he fires the boomerang. He misses him initially, but obviously that boomerang comes back to you, and it knocks Myron off.
That scene as well, he's thrown this thing right where his son is. Do you know what I mean? He's never thrown this thing before.
I know. Listen, mate. So he's throwing the boomerang, comes back, hits him. He lands to the, what do you call that again? Like the kind of parachute thing? I don't know. They land on it, the crash mat. The crash mat. They land on the crash mat. And his son's still hanging. Obviously, the crash mat's still there, but he doesn't want him to fall, obviously. And Jamie, he lets go, or he has no option. He just loses his grip, and Turbo Man uses his jetpack once more after a horrendous time with the jetpack at the start. He catches and then he lands perfectly. Gives his son back to his mum, Liz, and then at that point, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Howard. They're looking at him, but they don't. And he goes, and he starts to rhyme off the, I wish my dad was here.
It's the Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker moment. Second Star Wars reference.
I wish my dad was here, blah, blah, blah. I wish he could have saw me fly and all things. He goes, well, your dad loves you, Jamie, and how do you know all this? He goes, well, Jamie, he took his mask off, and I'm your father.
Even though I don't like some of the ending, I still get the chills when he takes the mask off and reveals himself to his son. Like, you still get the wee bit of the chills there.
You got chills?
See, just before he gets lost in the conclusion, I want to just give a wee shout out to Jake Lloyd. Like, I think I've always thought he's really charming in these roles and plays. I don't understand the criticism he got in Star Wars. Like, I feel like I don't think he was a massive issue in Phantom Menace. It wasn't his fault. He was the age he was. I like him in this film as well. It's been sad to hear how his life went with mental health and stuff since Star Wars. But hopefully he gets back on track because I liked him as a child actor. I don't know about you.
I didn't mind him, mate. You know what I mean? He was all right in this, and I'm not a big enough Star Wars fan to criticise his performance in the Phantom Menace, mate. But I didn't mind him in it personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just wanted to get that in there because I've never understood it. I think he's perfectly fine as a child actor personally, and I like his performance. I think he's endearing. I think he's memorable enough in the roles. So,
aye. Okay, so I realise it was Howard and Myron's getting taken away by the police, and then Jamie gives Myron the Turbo Man, and he goes, "Why are you giving it to me?" And so is Howard. Why are you doing that? I've fought all day to get this to you. Do you know what I mean? He goes,
yeah, absolutely raging.
I don't know, would be. And then the cheesy line comes, and he goes, "Why? What do I need a doll for? I've got the real Turbo Man at home."
I do like that line, but you kind of wish you just kept the doll after it all because
I've got the real Turbo Man at home.
You kind of remember this film. You always, in my memory, Myron and Howard became more friendly, but they didn't really, like, even up to like the very end, they were still like being violent towards each other. It's not like they became like best friends. They were kind of frenemies in a sense, but it was more a rivalry, you know.
Well, one thing as well, I noticed as well, like through the critics' eyes, if you want to call it that, he goes, "Oh, thank you very much. It's going to make my son very happy tomorrow morning." And I'm thinking, no, it wouldn't be.
You're in the jail.
You're in the jail, pal. You're not going to be given any days. But
in these films, those details don't really matter. Like the way I look at it, his son did get the doll, one way or another.
I know.
You know what I mean?
So that is.
Do you know there's an end credit scene, by the way? I don't think I'd ever seen it before.
Do you know? No. So there's an end credit scene.
Because it came up on Disney Plus, it was like skip credits, and I was like, it doesn't normally say that, so I just went past that bit, and I don't think I'd ever. Maybe I had and just forgotten about it, but I didn't think I'd ever seen that scene before.
So the end credit scene basically is, if you've not seen it, it is Howard and Liz, getting ready to go to bed and
putting the star on the tree.
Oh, I put the star on the tree. That's right. Put the star on the tree. Get ready to go to bed, and it's like I can't believe you did all that for Jamie. Do you know what I mean? You went to all the great lengths to get that Turbo Man doll for him, and which makes you wonder, what did you get for me? And at that point, you see the lights happen again. They turn the lights off, and it's just his eyes. Like, I've not got anything.
Been there.
So that was I knew it was there, mate. I had it.
Have you seen the set? Have you seen the second one?
No, I've not, mate. I'm trying to stay away from it because it was just ruined.
I looked at Wikipedia the critic reaction, and it said it was bad. So I'll probably just leave it at that.
Well, the thing is, if this get 5.7, then surely by default
I
it
got like
should be missing that.
3 point something or
Right.
something like that.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, that was our Seismic Cinema Jingle All the Way review, man. So
Nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah, hope everybody managed to enjoy it. I'm going to give out the Twitter comments, or comment, I should say. We did put a plethora of posts on, and we only got one back to this.
I hope all the people that didn't give their thoughts don't get a Turbo Man for Christmas.
I was hoping to get quite a few comments, despite the number of votes we got and things, and
It's a
how
popular
popular.
Film.
Or maybe they just don't like it, and that's why they didn't comment on it.
Maybe people are just doing their Christmas shopping at this point. Who knows?
So I put a post on about your thoughts, opinions, blah blah. But we got one back. It was Chris from What's the Script. He said it's the best Christmas film ever. Big Arnie, young Anakin, and the man, the legend Phil Hartman, absolutely sublime, and Maris too. So I thank you, mate, for the comment, buddy. But that was the only one. We put it on Facebook and Twitter, but that was all we got. So
there'll be more next time, I'm sure.
Aye, hopefully. So after that, then, so it's time to give you a Seismic score stars. What do we call it again? Seismic stars.
Seismic stars, yeah.
Seismic stars. How many Seismic Christmas stars are you giving this then, buddy?
It's a difficult one because you're wearing up your childhood memories versus trying to analyze a film. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
And I'm taking points off for bits of the ending. I think the film's pretty solid up to the ending. The ending's not wholly bad. I like parts of it, but see, just them not recognizing who Turbo Man was. We talked about the lack of urgency and the kind of rescue scene, and the kind of poor effects of when he's flying about as Turbo Man. The ending brings it down a wee bit for me, but not a lot, because I still like parts of the ending. I love the film. So many memorable scenes, great characters, and as I've said, my second favourite Christmas film of all time. So I'm happy with 8 out of 10.
Ah, fair enough, mate. I agree with you, mate, with the ending and the jetpack bit and things, you know what I mean?
Aye.
So, aye. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, man. Just because it's my favourite film of all time. Or Christmas film of all time. Brings back a lot of good memories. Watched it with my mum and dad, my brother, do you know what I mean? It's always one I will always revisit at Christmas time.
Yeah. I do love it, but I was trying to be a wee bit more kind of like realistic, just in terms of how I felt about it on this watch, if that makes sense.
Aye, and I will agree with you, mate. Like, in how it holds up to the day. I think that's important as well. Do you know what I mean? There's films that were made before then that still hold up to this day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I think it does up to probably the last
point,
segment. Yeah,
that's fine. Totally get that, mate. So an 8 out of 10 from you, 10 out of 10 from me. I mean, a lot of people have like Home Alone and Elf and things is their favourite Christmas film, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? But for me,
Elf maybe my third favourite, possibly.
Aye,
we've already reviewed Elf a couple of years back, so were you on that one?
I was. Aye,
yeah.
It was me, you, and it was the
guy from. I forgot what the podcast was called.
Brian, no, wasn't it? His name is Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was good fun. We had the snow, the artificial snow that Paul put in coming down. We had our own CGI.
That's it. So the time has come then, Colin. We came to the end of the Jingle All the Way review, and I'm looking from you 3 films that you want the viewers and listeners to vote for. Okay,
so I've talked quite a lot about this being like my second favourite Christmas film. I've never actually sat down and ranked them before, but just from thinking about the past. So I saved for this kind of vote My favorite of all time, which has always been like my go-to favorite Christmas film, kind of comfort Christmas film, which is the Santa Claus starring Tim Allen. So I'm going to throw that into the mixing pot this week, but don't let my views on it crowd the vote.
But
So
mind you, though, they won't hear this until the vote will be already
Aye,
finished.
that's true. Unless people are spying behind the scenes, that's a fair point. Second one, I considered putting this in my previous vote. I've seen it, but I can't really remember it that well, and I would need to rewatch it. But it's another really popular one, which is the Polar Express.
Tom Hanks.
Yep, and the third one I've decided to go for. Oh God, I had. Oh no, I know what it is. I know what it is. I've not watched this, but it's got a big fan base, and I'm planning to watch it regardless. Nativity.
Never seen it.
So yeah, so Nativity, Polar Express, and the Santa Claus. I personally love to do the Santa Claus. I've been wanting to do it for a couple of years, but even if we don't, I'm going to watch it anyway. So,
but if we don't, if it doesn't win, I might have the Santa Claus in my list as well. Do you know what I mean? So,
possibly, I may get another go. So, maybe one way or another we'll do the Santa Claus, and if not this year, we could always do it in the future. Because Seismic Cinema's coming up for its 3rd birthday in January. I can't believe it. They grew up so fast.
They do. We can walk now, man. Right. Okay, mate. So,
I think pretty decent
selection
there.
I'm happy with them, mate. So just remind me, fire them off to me, and I'll put them on the socials, which you can get: Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook, community, and homepage. Again, you're listening to us or watching us anyway, but you can share, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, our podcast, Audible, and Amazon Music. Okay, so I've enjoyed it today, mate.
Enjoy it every time.
Quite good. Quite well. So do I, mate. Aye.
Something I think it's a film we both love and have a lot of memories of, so I think that makes a difference.
Aye.
Because last week it was a film new to both of us, so
that's true, mate. Aye. That's very rare, that, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Film we've not seen.
Mm-hmm.
And Nativity is another one we've not seen.
Yeah.
Right.
But come on, the Santa Claus. Bring it home.
One Santa Claus. Right, okay. So we'll wrap up there then, man. So I'm James. I've probably written an essay on it. Paul, our editor, has watched Jingle the Way 2 and then Jingle the Way 1. And Colin?
And in most cases, I've not seen it, but I've definitely seen this one.